And I think that's all well and good because he's been terrific in September. But look, it's also been a very disappointing season overall. His value behind the plate remains just about fully intact. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I don't know. My point being is, like, we all looked at Yadi and we looked at the at-bats were just so, cavalier and just it's almost like, let me just swing at something and get this over with. And I don't know whether his head just wasn't there, his confidence wasn't there. He wasn't feeling right physically, but something's changed. And in this September, he's all of a sudden, it's like boom time. And that's really good, but I don't know. Just would have liked to have seen a little more of that urgency, before September. Does this make me a terrible human being for saying that? Well, I guess it does, but that's all right. I'm just saying, you decide to come back and we're going to have all these fawning tributes to Molina. And look, he deserves them at the end of his career, and he's deserved them and he's received them during his career. But it's nice that he's strung together several really outstanding games offensively, 2 home runs today. He's now, in the month of September, 9 for 18 with 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, got a double. And my best hope for the Cardinals' sake is that a guy that has actually had some really good moments in the postseason during his career, my hope for the Cardinals' sake is that we'll see some of this or a lot of this in that first-round series. I don't know who they're going to play, but that first-round series when it's go time for the postseason. But I don't know. I'm just kind of holding back a little bit because 2-3 weeks ago, everyone was talking about how bad his at-bats were and ripping him for this, ripping him for that. But in that grand St. Louis tradition, media-wise anyway, as soon as Molina does something, it's like, well, all the other stuff doesn't count, So that's all right. See, I'm a grouch, and I admit it. Seriously. My guy John Denton, who I love, he was asking a couple Molina questions, and he'll write about him. But you know what? John Denton's got a great touch with that stuff, So I look forward to anything he writes. But I'm just saying, some of the other stuff I heard in there from non-writers, it was just like, oh, come on. Anyway, Jim Hewer, yes, number one, I'm a grouch. Number two, I am an absolutely horrible human being. So, okay, guilty on both counts.
The Molina thing, here's what I hope at some point, Bernie, one of the sides will come out and tell us really what the deal was. We can speculate, and I think there's enough noise to, all right, he was kind of talked into coming back.
Yeah, he wanted to retire. He wanted to renege on his commitment because he didn't feel right. He just wasn't ready to go, and the Cardinals talked him into coming back.
And I hope the Cardinals, especially on their side, go, you know what, we talked him into coming back. We were desperate. And if you admit it, okay, that's fine. But admit to it. Because it's not, the way I see it, Bernie, it's not fair to keep ripping on Yadi when you guys were basically, as it sounds this way, pleading, please come, because we didn't plan to have another catcher on this roster. Own that a little bit if you're the organization.
No, that's a good point.
Because there is no doubt there have been times, and you just alluded to it, I'm watching him take at bats prior to leaving the first or the second time, and I was going, well, he's just, I imagine he's just in so much pain. He's just up there. They could throw the ball 2 feet out of the bat, beyond the plate, strike zone, and he's going to swing because he just wants to go back. He has no interest in taking the normal at bats we've come to know Yadi to take. It was just swing, 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 go sit down. If I hit one, great. If not, no big deal. Now, this month of September, there is a little change. I saw it today.
No doubt.
Not only because I didn't, to be honest with you, I didn't think he could hit a home run again after some of his swings. But today there was 2 of them. And also you saw some patience at the plate where he wasn't chasing pitches that were the slider low and away, where he just up there wailing away. He didn't have that today, and he hasn't had it in the last few times since he's returned. I shouldn't say that, because he was really bad when he first returned. But since the month calendar month has changed over to September. It's been much better. I hope we can see a little bit more of that Yachty magic. But I'm for me, Bernie, like I said, I just hope the Cardinals own up as an organization a little bit. Yeah, we talked him into this, and that's why you saw what you saw, because it was obvious he wasn't himself.
I wouldn't stay up late worrying about. I don't think that's going to happen. They're going to let. They got all these tributes. They got to honor him, and the final home series that weekend. And then it's just going to be a situation where you turn the page, and I don't think anybody wants to. I just don't think they're going to let us in as far as
Probably
talking
not.
about.
I think it's shameful though on their part for a guy who's been that big of a deal to their organization.
Yeah, it's been a very unpleasant experience where it shouldn't have been.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that bothers me about it more than anything. Like, this should have been a wonderful experience, and instead it became an awkward thing. It became a controversy to an extent that all of a sudden, you got fans, and I'm not talking about the people that usually complain about everything. I'm talking about, like reasonable fans, good fans who are fair-minded, and also just have a level of stability. A lot of them I know, it's just like they were just really kind of ticked off about the way this played out with Molina, the spring training delay, not being in shape, and going to Puerto Rico to rehab his knee, going down there, leaving the team during a road trip to go see his pro basketball team win a championship. I mean, on and on and on and on and on. I mean, which should have been a very happy season of pretty much unconditional love and support. It just was awkward at times, very awkward and uncomfortable. Even a little bit of nastiness in there because the people just were really kind of tired of it. And that's a shame. I mean, that's really regrettable that part of it was so much. There was so much of that in this final year. Now, if he closes strong and they win a playoff round and they keep going and he gets a couple, 3, 4 big hits, then nobody's going to care about the other stuff. So we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. And I still don't know what they're going to do about a catcher next year.
Oh, right.
And I got my friends, and some of them listen, and they know that I love them, but it's almost like the Juan Soto stuff. It isn't that I'm opposed to the idea of the Cardinals going out and spending a lot of money on Contreras, but there's also a reason why there wasn't this massive bidding on him in the trade market, because his reputation defensively ain't very good. And I don't think you want to go from having a great defensive catcher to someone who's like maybe going to let you down behind the plate. And his offense is obviously going to be better than anything they have. But what is the price going to be? I need to know the price. I tell my friends this. I said, well, yeah, but I don't. What's it going to cost me if I'm running the team? I don't know. I don't know what he's going to get. But I think it's like the Juan Soto thing in that everyone just assumes like, oh, if you can get Soto, you got to do it. Oh, if Contreras is a free agent, you got to get. That's not the Cardinal style. It just isn't. And I don't know how many times it has to happen before all of us come to a place of reality and realize Cardinals don't do business that way, And when they do, oh man, Mike Leake contract, Dexter Fowler contract, a couple other ones. Ooh, it's like I say all the time. It's like, whoa, y'all got this wrong. You shouldn't want them to spend a lot of money. That's when things get screwed up. They're not very good at it. Now, I'm not talking about when you trade for established superstars and you give Paul Goldschmidt the contract you did, which is actually a bargain, and you make the trade for Arenado, which you could go find a 5-year-old, 6-year-old kindergartner to make that trade. Oh, you don't want anything? And then, and you'll pay his first year of salary, $30 million. Boy, this is a hard decision. Okay, yeah, we'll do that. So it's like, when they've always done well when there's an established person who's a no-doubter type of performer that you're going to be able to count on and who's going to come through, whether it be McGuire in 98, Jim Edmonds in, 2000, whether it's Matt Holliday, right on down the line. They've done well with that stuff, but when they bring people in who, you look at and you're like, I like this, I really like this, it'd be an offensive upgrade, but boy, I don't really like what I hear about his defense and the fact that some teams were really shying away from that part of it. So I don't know. But let's get back to what I was saying originally. I have no idea what they're going to do for catcher next year. So I guess we'll get our answer. But I wouldn't hold any breath. I wouldn't deprive myself of oxygen holding my breath for them to throw a lot of money at Contreras. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I'm there with you. It's like, oh, there's a name. And I go, yeah, but they don't do the business that way. That's why I was very skeptical in the Soto conversations, because it's like, wait a minute, that's not how they're not giving up the whole franchise to get one player. That's not what they do. They do need another catcher though, because it doesn't appear that Ivan Herrera will be close to being ready next year when the season starts. They maybe another year down there and he develops, that would be helpful, but they're not ready for Kisner to be the everyday guy, I wouldn't think, and they need another upgrade defensively behind the plate for next year to be that second guy.
Yeah, and they didn't give Herrera much of a chance, but I think the light's been shined on that a little bit without anybody coming out and saying it. And here's what I'm leading to.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly can't remember who wrote this. It was one of the, whether it was Baseball America or Baseball Prospectus or ESPN, the people that write about prospects, and I think they're all credible, and I think they know, Keith Law, they all know what they're talking about. Opinions vary. They don't all agree on the same players, but I think they really do their work on this. And there was just a reference to Herrera's maturity and, people want to see him get after it, be more, maybe more determined, more serious.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of like a happy-go-lucky kid. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean he's a bad dude. But people, when you're going to be sort of the heir apparent to Yadier Molina, right?
Yep.
The one thing you can't be is, kind of a kid walking in, a little immature, kind of a goof off or whatever. That ain't going to play, and that's why he didn't stick when they brought him up, Again, please understand what I'm saying. No one's saying he's a bad kid or that, he's lazy or whatever. No, it's just a maturity level, and I think we saw some of that. He just wasn't ready. And I think maybe getting a little taste of it, but also getting sent down because they didn't think he could handle the job at a time where they really needed a catcher. I mean, really? You're going to go get Austin Romine? I mean, if I'm Ivan Herrera, I'm like, I got to crack down now, man. Let's go. I got to bear down. This opened my eyes. I got to do exactly what they want me to do, and I got to be more and more serious about it. So maybe that'll help him in the long run. I don't know, but he's got some growing up to do, not just as a player either.
No, I'd agree with that. There aren't many guys that can just jump in here at such a young age at the catcher position and just thrive. We saw Yadi do it. Yadi's a different breed. He's a Hall of Famer, but he also had a family of catchers that kind of look up to and to learn from. So we'll see, but they gotta go shopping in the off season somehow. Does that trade and I haven't really looked beyond anybody too much on that free agent market because
the other guys that Cardinals fans buzz about, and they should, is Sean Murphy, the Oakland catcher.
Yeah,
I don't know what his availability would be in a trade, or what the price would be. So in other words, I'm just saying I'm in the dark. I don't know what kind of deal that we would be talking about, as whether it makes sense or whether Oakland even wants to move him. So that's all. I
agree with that.